The Clippers have won 7 in a row against the Warriors. Ty Lue, his defensive scheme, his defensive personnel, our lack of size. Styles make fights. And for the last 2 or 3 seasons, the Clippers' style has given the Warriors trouble. So what was different in the first meeting this season at Chase Center tonight? Let's start with Quinten Post. He gets the start, even though Al Horford would play. And I said it last night in the Memphis matchup. It was like, dang, he was protecting the rim really well and just being big and being in the right spot, rotating on time. And to me, that's what stuck out in that first quarter. Quinten Post damn near dominated the first quarter. He pulled Lopez and Zoo out, hit a couple of threes, but it was the defense that was so impressive. He held his ground on Zubac to the point where they didn't really ISO him. We've seen that in the past where Zubac has these monster games against the Warriors, right? 20-10, 20-15, and Looney, it's just a bad matchup. It was a bad matchup for him. And I'm thinking Post, his high center of gravity, he's probably not strong enough. He held his ground, switching out on Harden, contesting Kawhi, and just really altering shots at the front of the rim to get the Warriors off to a really good start. And then Al comes in, and you're not really losing anything. Conceptually, they can play the same way. Al's going to pull their center out of the paint. And Al, I'm watching Al, man. Maybe he's helped Quinten with some of the dark arts, the jousting and positioning, the angles of being a post player for so long in the league. Al gets away with a lot of physicality in the paint, right? Like he's just earned it. A couple of times he just shoves Zubac down under the basket on the baseline. And hey, you play this long in the NBA with that many accolades, you kind of deserve it, right? But we go on this big opening run, and if you notice, this has been a trend to start the season. We open up really well, the team races back, and then we answer late first quarter, early second quarter. NBA is back, y'all. That's why I want to give a special shout out to today's sponsor, SeatGeek. Over 35 million downloads, 70,000 events listed. It's safe, it's seamless, and it's really a no-brainer when you want to get to a live event, whether that's a concert, a comedy show, or a sporting event. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. Now, they rate tickets on a 1 to 10 scale, so you know the value you're getting. It's all right in front of you, and it's the only way I go to a live event. Now, I went to a ton of WNBA games this summer, and it's just a different feeling when you're there. And you see different angles, you can kind of feel the energy in the building, and you not only have fun, but have a different takeaway from the game. And with the NBA season starting, I got to see the dubs. And so what I'm looking at here is December 18th. They are out here right away. You see the value of each ticket. And of course, I've got a code for you guys. You can use the code Alchemy10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with the promo code Alchemy10. Make sure to click the link in the description, download the app, and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Second quarter, Harden takes over. He is the master of the dark arts, right? When you talk about the merchants of SGA, Brunson, Harden is the OG of this, man. And he gets you off balance. One because he's unpredictable. He has such a big bag that it's like, well, what exactly is he going to do? He will pass it, right? He will get 10 assists. So you're on your toes. But then once he gets a couple cheap fouls, now he exploits the fact that the defender is afraid of the cheap fouls, right? And he kind of dominated that second quarter. And we look up after such a hot start, and the Clippers have a 3-point lead headed into the half. Steph, just 7 points. But again, against this Clippers team, traditionally, part of this 7-game losing streak has been Steph struggling with Chris Dunn. Jones Jr. and Lue's trapping Zubac at the rim. There's been various reasons. And so it was a little deflating heading into that second half after it felt like we outplayed the Clippers, but all of a sudden found ourselves down. Third quarter, Steph gets an end-to-end driving layup. And it's like, okay, is he going to get going? Then he hits a 3, right? And you could feel the energy of his offense kick in. But I really think it was the defensive end. I'm here recording this. This game started so late, I didn't even see the final score here. Once Ty Lue pulled his guys, I hopped back here. I wasn't even planning on doing a tonight's video, but considering, we haven't beat them in 7 tries, I figured I wanted to just give my quick takes. As always, I'll have a full breakdown of this game with the X's and O's, the strategies. The Clippers went into a zone to start that fourth quarter that gave us a little bit of trouble. Or was it the third? Again, I got to go back on the tape. But what stuck out to me was the defense in this second half for the Warriors. When I turned it off, the Clippers had like 70 points, right? And, Moses Moody, his defense on Kawhi, on Harden, his ability to switch onto their 2 guys and use his hands are his elite tool as a defender. How many times did we beat the Clippers to the floor for a 50-50 ball in that second half? The Warriors were the hungrier team, as they should have been when you consider that they're up seven wins in a row on us, right? But they were simply the hungrier team. But when we did sputter, let me rewind a little bit back. And again, we'll go through the tape. But when we did sputter in that second quarter, the Clippers defense, and they've been really good. Ty Lue, is Van Gundy still on their bench? They took away the second pass. Right? And that's what they're so good at, is their rotations. It's like short roll, or it's a one skip pass over. They'll stunt, and then that second pass isn't there. And you saw Kuminga, Jimmy, everyone struggled with it, right? Kuminga, they put Zubac on him in the second half, and I thought he was fine. I thought he was pretty good defensively, holding his own against, again, Moses and Kuminga. Being able to spend the brunt of the minutes on Kawhi and Harden was a really big deal. But they put Zubac on him, and for the first time this year, Kuminga didn't really want to attack the rim. You got Kawhi lurking back there, Harden, some of the best hands in the league, and then Big Zoo, who has become an all-defensive team player, and it's because of his distance management. Much like what's happening with Quentin Post. I know he's a ways away from that type of accolade, but Zoo does really good job of gapping, and so they kind of took away Kuminga's aggression at the rim, and we had some sputtering possessions. And then Steph gets going, and it was defense leading to offense, right? It was getting stops. It was winning 50-50 balls. Jimmy gets going, and it was interesting because just like with Kuminga, this was a matchup here where Jimmy couldn't physically dominate. It wasn't like, oh, let me get a switch and just go to work because of their size, because of Kawhi, right? He didn't really attack Kawhi, but he was like, all right, bet I'll win with my mind. I'll win with deception. He continues to shoot the 3 at plus 50% early in the season. It's like he's throwing darts, right? That 3, it's not even like a shot. It's like if you were throwing darts, he's like, I'm gonna aim it. And he just knocks it down, man. And he really kind of provided the knockout punch while Steph rests into that fourth quarter with Moses. Pods stringing together good games here where, he's in transition. He's looking to create a shot for others. And then, if you notice, he's using the threat of the shot first. The triple threat, showing shot, and he's either taking it with confidence, right, mind made up, or he's getting them to commit, and that's giving him the step. So he hit a big 3. Was it at the end of the first quarter there? So that's great to see him string together too. But yeah, man, what I will say, let's be a little bit objective here. It's always fun to get a win against James Harden, right, and this Clippers team. But you heard them run a stat like, hey, the Warriors and the Clippers have the highest regular season winning percentage of anybody in the last decade or something like a long period of time. But clearly, one team has way more hardware, right? And you look at Kawhi and you look at Harden, 2 of the most talented players of this generation. But to me, their competitive spirit wavers, right? They're not really leaders or communicators. And we've seen it time and time again. When it really matters, they don't know how to lead their team to victory. I know people are going to point back to Kawhi in Toronto or in San Antonio. Let's be real. If you really went back and looked at that 19 series, Siakam, Lowry, Kawhi's, he's a mercenary. He's an assassin. He'll get you the points, but he's not going to lead. He's not going to rally the guys and huddle them up. And one thing you notice that both Harden and Kawhi don't do is they don't play with any emotion, right? And so this Clippers team is talented. They're the 2 oldest teams in the league. But why do you think they brought Chris Paul back? Because internally they know, hey, Harden and Kawhi, like when the going gets tough, And so the Warriors, again, they wanted this game. And the 50-50 balls, I thought Moses was huge, Pods. Kuminga, his first maybe a little bit of struggle offensively. I was curious if he was going to shoot more threes. To his credit, he didn't. He didn't force the issue, and we ultimately ended up not needing it. But when you say what's the difference, in those 7 losses in the last 2 years or whatever it has been, there wasn't really a Quentin Post, Al Horford, or Jimmy Butler. And I think that completely changes the dynamic of the matchup, particularly with Zubac, right? And then you've got Moses Moody and Kuminga now seemingly entering their prime, where their mind and body are both at an intersection of peaking. And Moses is able to hold his own on Kawhi. Kuminga is able to hold his own on Harden in some of these minutes on an island, right? But to me, this post-Al Horford duo at the center spot is intriguing because they both stretch the floor. We know what Al brought to the table defensively, but if QP in the majority of matchups or in even half of the matchups in the league can be a plus defensively, right? Where it's not just like a small ball unit where he can't play. I mean, that's just, I don't think anybody accounted for that right now. I think that's the biggest story out of this game. We move to 4-1, and now we head east to see Indiana and Milwaukee. Now, the good news in the Pacers matchup is Andrew Nembhard. No, I'm not saying it's good he's hurt, but it's good for us because he's a Warrior killer. Nembhard, I think he has a shoulder injury, but, Siakam always gives us trouble. And, they're a deep, feisty, prideful team. The Bucks are sneakily, they moved to 4-1? Who did they beat? The Knicks tonight? And Ryan Rollins. You remember that name? Bob Myers is somewhere smirking, right? Playing at the point. Giannis is Giannis. And Kuzma coming off the bench. Portis. You got Miles Turner. It's a new look Bucks team. And at least right now, they look pretty good. They look really athletic. And the thing early in the season is, not that this is the case with the Bucks, but some of these younger teams that aren't supposed to be good, the Blazers, the Wizards, Hornets, stuff like that, there's more belief. Everyone's fresh. Everyone's trying hard, right? Where you catch them, in the final 20 games of the year, and it's like it's fizzled out. So everyone is competitive at this point in the season. But I would say, what do you think? This win bigger than the Nuggets win? I don't know. The Nuggets game was probably more fun, but I think big picture that this one was bigger when you consider the styles of fight and how much trouble stylistically this Clippers team had given us, right? And then you say from the Clippers perspective, I'll add one more thing. I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling here. I wasn't planning for this. It's late, man. But our second unit outplayed them, right? That was the story of the offseason. If you looked at the West, it was like Denver and the Clippers had the best offseason. Look, they got Lopez, they got John Collins, they bring back Chris Paul. They have no chemistry with that second unit. And we really were able to widen the gap when they went to that second unit. And so, that's not going to look like that forever, as the telecast reminded us, but a win's a win in the West. And it felt good to finally get one against Ty Lue, Harden, and this Clippers team. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.